Gerald M. Thornton is here to give you an update on the storm and its effects in Cape May County.
Okay, Jerry's starting right now.
First of all, let me start out by just emphasizing to everyone that this is a very dangerous storm. So we want as many people along the barrier islands as possible to leave the barrier islands. Those that are on the mainland, we want them basically to try and stay in place and do those things that are necessary so that they feel as if they're protected. We have been working since Tuesday in planning for this hurricane. We've been in contact with the governor's office and with the cabinet members and with many of the state officials. And the governor has been in contact with us on and off probably every 3 or 4 hours here with a conference call. And I know he's been in contact with the federal authorities at FEMA. We have been working very closely with all the local OEM personnel and the elected officials throughout Cape May County. So far, it's a very coordinated effort. It's very cooperative. And our issue here is just trying to provide essential services to make sure that the residents of Cape May County and the first responders are protected. As far as the county government is concerned, our offices basically will be closed for the next Monday and Tuesday. But our employees, because they're considered essential employees, are reporting for work. And the reason why we want all our employees, which is approximately 900 employees in the county of Cape May, to report for work, and they're all considered essential, is because this storm is so dangerous, and if we have a lot of damage, we want to make sure that we have the necessary staff in place in order to respond to the needs of our residents. Our senior population, because we have a large senior population, the county of Cape May, approximately 23% of our population is greater than 65 years old. We've asked them as much as possible to go to other areas with their family. For those that are seniors on the mainland that are homebound, we have provided them with meals through this weekend and shelf-ready meals. Tomorrow, Fare Free Transportation and the Department of Aging will deliver shelf-ready meals to those seniors that are homebound that will take them through until Thursday. All our facilities are basically closed. Our parks, zoo, our senior centers are closed because they're social centers, but they're also closed. Our fare-free transportation, all their normal runs have been canceled because they are now in an emergency situation, except for those on dialysis, which we will try to transport them as much as possible. Tomorrow, some I think we transported on Saturday. I think yesterday we transported some, and those with medical needs. The animal shelter that we have in the county of Cape May is now on a 24-hour basis. They are open for 24 hours. I want to emphasize, though, that many people are saying, well, we're going to stay in place. Believe me, when this storm hits, we are not going to have the resources to go in and save people. And that's what I just want to emphasize to everybody. If that water gets high on the barrier islands and those emergency personnel come off the islands, it's going to be difficult for us to get back in there. So I'm just saying, don't take anything for granted. I emphasize the fact that this is a dangerous storm, not only for the county of Cape May, but for the entire state of New Jersey. The governor and his staff and the state police are very concerned, and we have been trying everything possible to emphasize that. Now I'm going to introduce Marty Palugi, who is our Director of Emergency Management. Marty?
Thank you, Freeholder Director. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just going to double on what Jerry said. This is a very dangerous storm. People don't want to focus on where it's going to make landfall. The latest projections from the National Weather Service is looking at making landfall between Atlantic County and Monmouth County. But because it's so wide, it's over 400 miles wide, it's going to be major impact on such a large area for such a long time. We've got several bridges that are closed. Actually, don't think that the boaters are going to go out boating, but the 96th Street toll bridge, movable bridge in Stone Harbor, the Middle Fairfield Bridge in Lower Township, and the Townsend's Inlet Bridge between Avalon and Sea Isle City will be closed to any boating traffic. The George Redding Bridge going into Wildwood was closed this morning and is still closed because most of the towns experienced flooding, and we're not even at the big impact of the storm yet. But some of the low-lying areas on the barrier islands did flood. The tide's not going out that fast. It's going to be compounded with tonight's tide and again with tomorrow morning. We're looking at probably Monday afternoon into Tuesday. This storm is going to stretch with several tide cycles. The shelters in Cape May County that we've opened for county residents, we've asked that Ocean City, Sea Isle City, and Strathmere residents will be directed to the Upper Township Middle School, located at 525 Perry Road in Petersburg, the Upper Township Elementary School on 50 Old Tuckahoe Road in Marmora. We're also asking residents of Wildwood, Wildwood Crest, North Wildwood, West Wildwood, Cape May, West Cape May, and Cape May Point will be directed to the Woodbine Developmental Center. The shelters started opening today about 1 o'clock, and I believe they're all scheduled to be open by 3 o'clock this afternoon. We also have 2 animal shelters, one in the lower part of the township and one in the county and one in the upper part of the county, and 1 medical needs shelter, which is located in the upper part of the county. The Garden State Parkway and the Atlantic City Expressway is scheduled to close traffic heading east and south on those 2 major arteries tonight sometime. The PDs in all of the Barrier Island communities will be shutting off their causeways going into the island approximately 4 o'clock this afternoon. Like we said, this tide event is probably going to be the greatest concern to the Barrier Islands, more so than the actual rain and the wind event that the mainland community is going to see. If people are home during this event, in the mainland communities, don't travel around at night during this storm because the forecast right now is between 5 and 10 inches of rain, winds of 35 to 45 miles an hour, gusting to 60. There will be power lines down, and there will be flooding in the mainland communities just because of the amount of rain. There's going to be a certain point in the SOP of all the emergency management responders in all of the towns where at certain tide levels and certain wind and rain conditions, they will not send emergency responders on calls for a certain period of time. That's why it's so dangerous. You may be able to survive the storm if you're on a barrier island, that's possible, but then think about going without electricity for 2 weeks or so. Don't call an ambulance and don't call the police department because they won't be able to get you. That's what the main reason for the evacuation is. But the Emergency Management Office, the EOC, is going to be open, staffed 24 hours now until the end of the event, and we're going to continue to keep you updated with daily press conferences, or at the moment, if something major arises, we will notify all the news media. And I'm going to introduce Sergeant Pat Gorman, who is the emergency OEM resource from the New Jersey State Police for Region 2.
Okay.
South.
That's a pretty big title, isn't it? So, thanks for the promotion. We stood up here about a year ago and gave a message, and we're going to give the same exact message, that the 0 hour is approaching and you need to get out if you're in a barrier island. We don't have the governor of the state of New Jersey come down here to Cape May County for nothing. He came down here to give a very strong message, and that's to evacuate the barrier islands. We're doing all we can in the State Office of Emergency Management, the county, and the local offices of emergency management. Now we need the public to do their job. Heed the warning. Get to a shelter if you're on one of those barrier islands. Keep in touch with your municipal office of emergency management for updates. Make our job easier by doing your job. Okay, we're working through the storm. We'll be here Obviously, before the storm hits, which was only a couple hours away, we're going to work through the storm, and we'll be here after the storm to support the county in their initiatives. There are no major highways that are going to be shut down at this time, but all the barrier islands are going to be shut down, so there's really nowhere for anybody to go. We will be here to support every initiative that we have, and it's amazing because within our planning strategies and initiatives, we've always planned the worst case scenario, and this is the worst case scenario. So we're hoping our planning and practice and build up for this event will have the most positive results. So
At this time, does anybody want to have any questions?
Question for Marty, please.
Yeah.
Can you break down, Marty, the number of people who permanently year-round live on barrier islands compared to the mainland?
I can give you the number for Avalon, but I'm not sure about the other barrier islands. Avalon, for example, has 2,000 year-round people, and in the summertime it goes to 35,000. So the only good thing is this time of the year, a little easier on evacuation, a little easier on sheltering with such a small population. But I think the ratio is about the same for all of the islands.